The meaning of marriage. The Supreme Court is trying to define marriage, and what they come up with could have a big impact on millions of Americans. It's a hot topic, and joining us today to discuss this very important issue, we have Assistant State Attorney Felix Vega. Now, this lawsuit actually goes back 3 years already.
It's hard to believe. I've been covering this since 2010 when I started interning here, actually. And this started with a lawsuit that was filed after Proposition 8 went into effect in California after the 2008 election. Two gay couples in California actually filed the suit against the government, which is key here, in addition to Prop 8 supporters. The case actually went to a trial in front of a judge back in January of 2011. Later on that year, the judge agreed that the Prop 8 was unconstitutional. It went up to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals very quickly. They knew that this issue was coming. They declared it unconstitutional, and that's what the roadmap to the Supreme Court. The interesting part of this and what the justices became hung up on is that in California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was the governor at the time, he refused to get involved in the lawsuit and also agreed that it was unconstitutional, which sets up part of the argument in front of the Supreme Court this week.
So you read through all the transcripts from the Proposition 8 arguments, and I'm sure there were a lot.
Yeah.
What were the strongest and the weakest points that the justices seemed to focus on?
We'll start with the weakest ones, especially with Prop 8. It was very interesting because they really struggled, the Prop 8 supporters, with this issue of standing. And that's the ability to bring a case before the Supreme Court and also file a lawsuit. They really were fishing for an answer, a hard answer on this, and Charles Cooper, who was arguing in support of Prop 8, really couldn't find his footing and give them a really hard and fast answer. They moved on and they wanted to talk about what is the injury, what's the legal harm in allowing same-sex couples to marry, which is really the big question that everyone has on their mind. And they started going on this tangent about procreation, that the only reason for marriage is procreation, and that's why if you allow same-sex couples to marry, then you're going to take away that institution of procreation. A lot of the justices attacked, especially Justice Breyer, and there was one kind of exchange between Justice Kagan and also Charles Cooper that caught the attention of the court. Take a listen.
No, Your Honor, it would not be constitutional.
Because that's the same state interest, I would think. You know, if you're over the age of 55, you don't help us serve the government's interest in regulating procreation through marriage. So why is that different?
Your Honor, even with respect to couples over the age of 55, it is very rare that both parties to the couple are infertile. And the traditional
no, really, because if a couple, I can just assure you, if both the woman and the man are over the age of 55, there are not a lot of children coming out of that marriage.
And you saw that drew a laughter from the crowd within the Supreme Court. It's a very good point, and it also drives home the point, what about infertile couples and other couples that don't choose not to have children? What's the difference? And
really quick, let's wrap up with your opinion. Where do you think this is going to go?
They could really do the Hail Mary pass and legalize same-sex marriage across the board. The stretch is they're going to have to go through 41 states and say that, and regulate it in those 41 states, in addition to the 9 that already have legalized same-sex marriage. I don't know if they're prepared to make that leap of faith. I think it will say that same-sex marriage is allowed in California. And then as far as DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Act, that was the other big case. I think it's pretty clear they did not like that, and they'll probably declare that unconstitutional, which will free up a lot of benefits for same-sex couples on the federal level, and that's a good thing. It's half a victory. Hoping that they'll go the full distance, we're not sure at this point. And then we know from, you and I talked about the health care debate last year, completely unpredictable as far as the Supreme Court goes.
All right, all eyes are on this topic, and thanks for clearing it up for us.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks a lot, State Attorney Felix Vega.